There's a strange ache that comes from lying in bed after a quiet day. Not because your body hurts, but because your mind does. It whispers, "You didn't do enough," as if rest must be earned through suffering, as if stillness is only permitted after exhaustion. But where did we learn that being is not enough? That a day without output is a day wasted. We've been conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to productivity, that busyness is virtue, that exhaustion is proof of value. It's how we check off boxes, chase deadlines, and fill calendars. We wear stress like armor and call it ambition. And when we finally pause, guilt creeps in like a shadow. "You don't deserve to rest," it hisses. "Didn't even do anything today." But who decides what enough looks like? A spreadsheet, clock, someone else's expectations. The world praises hustle and shames softness. But what if stillness was strength? What if doing less didn't make you less? Maybe the lie isn't that we're lazy. Maybe the lie is that we must earn our right to be human, because rest isn't a reward. It's a basic need, like water, like sleep, like breath. You don't earn your next inhale by holding the last one long enough. So why should you earn rest? This isn't laziness. It's a survival, and the guilt. It's not your fault. It's inherited, handed down from systems that value profit over people, from cultures that confuse burnout with bravery, from families that called idleness shameful. You didn't choose this guilt, but you can choose to challenge it, because it's not true. You don't need to be exhausted to deserve gentleness. You don't have to accomplish to be worthy. A quiet day is not a wasted one. A slow day is not a lesser one. You're allowed to simply be. You're allowed to exist without explaining, without defending your need to pause, without proving your worth through effort. The sun doesn't need a to-do list to rise. The trees don't feel shame for being still. Nature doesn't apologize for simply existing. So why do you? Why do you tie your value to what you produce? Why is rest something you feel guilty about? Because you've been taught that your value is conditional, but it's not. You are not a machine. You are not a task list. You are not a number on a screen. You are a living being, a soul in a body that needs care, a mind that needs softness, a heart that needs stillness. And today, maybe you did nothing, but you breathed. You felt. You existed, and that is everything. The guilt you feel, it's not the truth. It's the residue of a lie, right? One that says you must earn the right to rest. But that lie is cracking now, because you're beginning to question it. You're beginning to wonder if maybe rest is a right. It's not a luxury. Not a prize, but something you were always allowed to have. Even on the days when you don't do enough, even when there's nothing to show, even when your mind says you're wasting time, you're not. You are healing. You are remembering. You are coming back to yourself, and that is not nothing. That is everything. The world will keep spinning. The inbox will still be there. The dishes can wait, but your soul, it needs your attention now. Not later, not after you finish. Now, let the guilt sit quietly. Let it pass like a cloud. And in its place, plant a new belief that you are worthy of rest. Even if you did nothing today, especially then. You wake up tired, but the voice in your head already demands movement. It whispers, "You haven't earned rest yet." So you sit at your desk or scroll through your phone, pretending to be busy, but beneath that noise is a deeper silence, one that aches. It's not laziness, it's exhaustion, wearing a mask. Yet, you shame yourself for not doing more. Where did you learn that your worth must be proven every day? That rest must be traded for output? That stillness is suspicious unless it's part of a self-care routine posted online? Rest isn't indulgence. It's a form of repair. You deserve repair even when nothing is broken. You've internalized the myth that being productive makes you good. But being human is not a performance. Some of the most meaningful things can't be measured or posted, like the quiet you offer a friend who's grieving, or the courage it takes to simply exist while sad. Productivity can't account for those. Still, guilt creeps in like a fog. You feel it even when you cancel plans for your mental health, even when your body is begging for rest, but you push it aside. Why does silence make you anxious? Why does stillness feel like failure? Maybe because we've confused purpose with pressure? But the truth is, you were not made to be useful. You were made to be. The guilt you carry isn't yours. It was handed down by tired parents, overworked teachers, and burnt-out bosses. It was enforced by systems that equate hustle with virtue, so you perform busyness like it's armor. Even on days when you just want to breathe, you downplay your needs in the name of appearing responsible. But what if responsibility includes rest? What if choosing to slow down is the bravest thing you can do? The guilt doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're unlearning something toxic. Rest isn't earned. It's a birthright. You don't need to deserve it. You already do. Because you are more than what you accomplish. You are still worthy when you pause. Still enough when you step away. Still lovable when you do nothing at all. Let that truth soften the guilt. Let it sit beside you as you lie down without explanation. Rest is not a reward for productivity. It's a reclaiming of your humanity. And every time you rest, especially when it feels undeserved, you take a step toward healing. Because the systems that taught you to overwork will never give you permission to rest. You must give it to yourself. Not just once a month on a weekend, but daily. As naturally as you drink water, as regularly as you breathe. But don't expect the guilt to vanish overnight. It will sit with you at first. It might even scream. That's okay. Let it scream while you soften. Let it echo while you stay still. You're not lazy. You're just living in a culture that fears slowness. But your body remembers a different rhythm, one that pulses gently, one that does not rush. So listen to your body. It's wiser than the voice of guilt. It knows that healing doesn't happen in motion. Sometimes it happens when you stop, when you allow space, when you allow nothingness. You remember you're still whole, even in your quietest hours. Let this be your small rebellion, to rest without apology. Stop waiting until you've done enough. To unlearn the lie that says your worth is tied to output. Even if today you accomplish nothing, you are still worthy of peace. Even if all you did was survive, that is enough. Especially on the days you don't believe it. Especially then. Rest anyway. Be kind to the tired version of yourself. The one who needs love, not lectures. Not motivation, not guilt, but gentle permission. This is how you begin to unlearn. This is how you begin to heal, not by doing more, but by being soft with yourself when you do less. Rest isn't passive. It's active resistance. Sacred reclamation. It's whispering to yourself, I am not a machine. I don't need to earn my right to slow down. And in that whisper, something begins to shift. Not in the world, but inside you. The beginning of softness. The beginning of trust. The beginning of rest without shame. One quiet breath at a time. One guiltless hour at a time. Maybe the reason rest feels uncomfortable is because you've always been told to earn it, as if comfort is a currency exchanged only for productivity, as if your worth can be measured in checklists. So you sit down, take a breath, and almost immediately feel the urge to get up again, to do something, anything to justify the space you take up. That tension isn't laziness, it's fear dressed as guilt. A fear that says, if I'm not useful, I'm not lovable. But you were never meant to function like a machine. You were not designed for constant output. You were made to breathe, to pause, to feel. Trees don't bear fruit year-round. Bears don't apologize for hibernating. And yet you've been taught to apologize for your fatigue. Capitalism has taught us that time is money, that rest is wasteful, that stillness is laziness. But time is not just money. Time is presence. It's healing. It's noticing. And some of the most sacred moments in life happen when nothing is getting done, like watching the sun set slowly, listening to your own heartbeat in the quiet. There is wisdom in the pause. Now, there is softness in the not doing. There is you underneath all the noise. Productivity has become a shield, a way to keep your value visible to the world, a way to avoid the vulnerability of stillness. But what if that stillness isn't emptiness? What if it's clarity waiting to be heard? What if it's where you finally meet yourself? You're allowed to rest, not because you finished your to-do list, but because you exist. Because your body breathes, your heart beats, and that alone is enough. Think about a child sleeping peacefully in a sunlit room. Would you demand they get up and prove their worth first? No, you would simply let them rest. And that same compassion belongs to you. You don't have to outperform your exhaustion. You don't have to validate your fatigue. You don't have to wait for burnout to justify a break. Rest isn't the prize at the end of pain. It's the right you've always had. But unlearning takes time. The guilt might still whisper. The old rules might still rattle in your mind. That's okay. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll still overdo it. Some days you'll resist the pause. But even on those days, the permission still stands. The invitation is still open. You are still worthy of rest. Even if the dishes aren't done. Even if you didn't answer that email. Even if the laundry pile is growing again. You don't need to earn peace. You don't need to win back your energy. You just need to honor your humanity. Your body remembers every time you pushed through the pain. It remembers every time you ignored the signals. But it also remembers softness, when you let yourself just be. Rest is not the absence of ambition. It's the foundation of sustainability. It's the space where your soul exhales. You don't become less valuable when you slow down. You don't become irrelevant when you unplug. You become real again. Somewhere there's a version of you that is not frantic, not exhausted, not constantly running from stillness. That version of you is waiting, beneath the pressure, beneath the programming. Imagine a day where you wake up and don't feel behind. Where you stretch instead of scroll. Where you sit in the morning light and feel no shame. That day is possible. Not because you finally deserve it, but because you were always worthy of softness. And yes, life will still demand things from you. Deadlines won't disappear. Responsibilities still call. But in between, you can create space. You can redefine what enough means. You can begin again. Rest can be an act of rebellion. A quiet resistance against a world that equates worth with output. A small revolution in favor of your soul. So let yourself be still. Let yourself be human. Let yourself stop. Without the guilt. You are not lazy. You're not broken. You are simply learning how to live differently. Not harder. Not faster. Just more honestly. Somewhere along the way, we started to believe our worth depended on output. If we didn't produce something, we didn't earn rest. If we weren't improving, we were wasting time. This belief is not true. It's conditioning. A deeply embedded illusion passed down through systems built on burnout. Systems that thrive when we forget we're human. The idea that every hour must be accounted for is a cage. It traps us in guilt, even during moments meant for peace. It whispers you should be doing more, even as we cry for stillness. You are not a machine. You were never designed to function nonstop. Even nature has seasons of pause. Trees do not bloom year-round, rivers slow in winter. The earth itself rests. And yet we feel ashamed when we do the same. We call ourselves lazy for needing to stop. But rest is not the opposite of progress. It is part of it. The truth is, your value is not tied to productivity. It is not increased by busyness or diminished by stillness. You are worthy because you are here, not because of what you do. The need to prove yourself every day is a heavy burden. It keeps you running, even when your heart begs for pause. It's okay to lay it down. You can rest without a reason. You can rest without finishing the to-do list. You can rest simply because you are tired. Your body knows what it needs. Your spirit knows what it longs for. Trust that wisdom. There's nothing noble about exhaustion. Nothing virtuous about running on empty. Pain should not be your proof of effort. We glorify the hustle, but forget the harm. We admire those who never stop, but never ask what it costs them. We see their achievements, not their aching. But the truth surfaces in quiet moments. In the breakdown after the push, in the silent dread before another busy morning. You don't need to collapse to justify rest. You don't need to be on the brink to deserve a break. You don't need to do more to be enough. Sometimes healing looks like sleeping in. Sometimes growth means saying no to another task. Sometimes progress is invisible, and that's okay. The world won't stop spinning if you take a day off. You are allowed to catch your breath. You don't have to be useful every moment. You don't have to keep proving yourself to a world that never stops asking. You are not here to perform. The pressure to always produce is not natural. It is man-made, profit-driven, and often cruel. You don't owe your exhaustion to anyone. You're not falling behind. There is no race. You're not being lazier, listening to your limits. And that is strength, not weakness. Rest is not something you earn. It's something you need, like water, like food, like air. It is essential, not optional. So what if you did nothing today? You are still valuable. You are still allowed to lie down and be gentle with yourself. You do not need to apologize for slowing down. You do not need to explain your quiet. You do not need to justify your stillness. Let go of the guilt. Let go of the checklist. Let go of the belief that rest must be earned. You are allowed to just be, to breathe, to take up space without having to achieve something first. Your worth is not a performance. It is not measured by your calendar. It is not found in what you cross off a list. Imagine how much gentler life would feel if we all believed this, if we treated ourselves like beings, not machines, if we honored our need for pause as sacred. It starts with you, with this moment, with choosing rest without guilt. You don't have to do anything grand today. You don't have to earn anyone's approval. You don't have to be extraordinary. You're allowed to be human, soft, needing care, needing quiet, needing time. Rest is resistance to a culture that never stops. Rest is a return to yourself. Rest is an act of self-trust. If all you do today is exist, it is enough. If all you do is take a deep breath and let it go, it is enough. If all you do is feel your heartbeat and stay, it is enough. Let today be slower. Let it be quieter. Let it be kind. Let this be your reminder. You don't need a reason to rest. You already deserve it exactly as you are. You've been told that to be worthy, you must always be improving, striving, achieving. But what if resting is the bravest thing you can do in a world that profits from your exhaustion? Hey, what if choosing to pause is an act of quiet rebellion? There's power in stillness. Disrupts the cycle that tells you your value lies in your usefulness. It says, I am enough, even now. When you rest, you challenge every voice that says you must earn peace. You break the inheritance of burnout passed down like an heirloom. You heal not just for yourself, but for those who come after you. Productivity has its place, but it should not be your prison. You are more than what you produce. You are a soul, not a spreadsheet. The body knows how to rest, but the mind trained to measure and compare fights against it. It whispers, you haven't done enough. You haven't been enough. So you lie awake, tired but tense. You scroll, you ruminate, you replay. You feel guilty for the things you didn't check off a list no one else sees. But what if you wrote a new list? One that said, I breathed. I felt I stayed kind. One that honored your being, not just your doing. Rest allows you to hear your own voice again. Beneath the noise of shoulds and musts, there is a softer truth, a reminder that you are worthy of care simply because you exist. Imagine a life where naps aren't a failure, where you can say, I need a break without apology, where slowness is sacred, not shameful. This is the life rest makes room for. A life with space to notice small joys. A life where your nervous system can breathe. But first comes the hard part, giving yourself permission. Permission to not respond right away. Permission to cancel plans without guilt. Permission to sit in silence. To close your eyes in the afternoon. To say, I've done enough for today, even when nothing visible was done. Capitalism will always whisper, more, faster, now. Your worth is not in how much you resist that voice, but in how often you return to your own. The voice that says, come back to yourself. You are not lazy. You are human. You were never meant to be a machine. Somewhere along the way, doing nothing became the enemy. But look at nature. The tree rests in winter and still grows in spring. Rest is not the opposite of growth. It's what allows growth to happen. It is the soil in which your energy renews. You don't have to collapse to deserve a break. You don't have to prove your pain to be believed. You don't have to earn rest like a reward at the end of suffering. You just have to remember you are already enough. Even in stillness, even in silence. Let your rest be intentional. Not a shutdown, but a soft landing. Not avoidance, but restoration. You are allowed to stop without losing yourself. The world won't fall apart if you pause, but you might fall back together. Rest isn't the problem. The belief that you're unworthy without effort, that's the wound, and that wound deserves care. You can heal from that urgency. You can unlearn the fear that makes you overextend. You can find peace without performance. Begin where you are. Breathe into your body. Notice what softens when you say, this is enough. Let rest be a bridge, not a break from life, but a return to it. a space where your nervous system exhales, a place where you remember who you are beneath the busy. There will always be more to do. But right now, you've done the most important thing. You've remembered that rest is your birthright. So rest. Even if your to-do list is unfinished, even if your inner critic protests, rest not because you earned it, but because you exist. Existing is enough. You don't need to apologize for being tired. You don't need to justify stillness. You don't need to outperform your exhaustion. Your worth has never been up for debate. It was never measured by how much you can endure. It's always been here, quiet, constant, and true. Let this moment be your reminder. Let your breath be your permission slip. Let yourself be. You deserve rest, not someday. Not when you finish. Now, even if the world keeps spinning, even if no one else understands, even if it feels unfamiliar, rest anyway. Because you are not a project to complete. You are a person to care for. The hardest part isn't resting. It's allowing yourself to rest without guilt. That quiet whisper in your mind says, you haven't done enough to deserve this. But rest isn't a transaction. It's not something you earn with hours or hustle. It's a need. It's like water or air. Even machines overheat when they never stop. And you, beautiful human that you are not a machine. You were not designed for endless output. You were made to feel, to wonder, to pause. But society taught us to fear stillness, to measure worth by what we achieve, not how we are. So when you stop, that fear rushes in. What if I fall behind? What if I'm lazy? What if I'm not enough without my to-do list? But here's the truth. Rest isn't the opposite of progress. It's the soil from which growth begins. A rested mind creates. A rested heart loves. A rested soul connects. Even when your body is still, your healing is alive. Some days the brave thing is not to push harder, but to soften. To say, I will be gentle with myself today, because you've lived so long in fight mode, bracing for criticism, chasing invisible approval, surviving by staying useful. But survival isn't living. Living includes naps and quiet tea and watching the rain. It includes lying on the floor and feeling the breath move through you. You don't have to justify your existence with effort. The birds don't. The trees don't. They simply are, and that's enough. So maybe it's time to practice doing nothing without shame, to take breaks without apology, to leave emails unanswered for a little while, to let the dishes wait, to feel the weight of tiredness and honor it, because ignoring exhaustion doesn't make it disappear. It just delays the crash. And you deserve more than burnout. You deserve balance. You deserve mornings that start slow. You deserve weekends that aren't filled with catch-up. You deserve evenings where the only goal is peace. Rest is not wasted time. It's recovery. And recovery is sacred. Imagine if your worth wasn't tied to your usefulness. What would you do then? Who might you become? Rest lets you meet that version of yourself. The one who is calm. It's the one who doesn't need permission to slow down. It's the one who lives, not just performs. That version of you is still there. Beneath the fatigue, beneath the schedules, beneath the noise, you are still there. You've just been tired for a long, long time. Maybe even tired of proving something. So here's your reminder. Nothing bad will happen if you rest. The world won't collapse if you stop for a day. Your worth won't vanish if you do nothing. In fact, something beautiful might happen. You might reconnect. With your breath, with your softness, with your truth. Rest is where the truest parts of us return. To rest. Not because you've earned it, but because you need it. Rest even when your to-do list is full. Rest even if others won't understand. Rest because your body asked. Rest because your soul whispered. Rest because rest is radical in a world that glorifies exhaustion. Rest because you are enough right now, exactly as you are. Even if you did nothing today. Even if all you did was breathe. That is still sacred. That is still life. You are still worthy. Let the guilt go. Let the pressure go. Let yourself be. Curl into your softest blanket of compassion. Sip something warm. Let the light in through the window. You don't need to be productive to be good. You don't need to be busy to be loved. You don't need to be exceptional to deserve care. You are allowed to just be. And being friend is enough. Always has been. Always will be. This is quiet philosophy, where thinking isn't loud, and life doesn't need to be either. Subscribe if you haven't already, not for noise, but for something you can actually feel.